So, welcome. Hope you're all enjoying your day so far. I am extremely excited to be here, not only for the chance to meet and chat with all of you, but also for the opportunity to talk about a topic I'm extremely passionate about, which is inbound marketing, and specifically how to use inbound marketing to grow your business. A little about me, my name's Rebecca Corliss. I am at RepCore on Twitter. I always like to share a fun fact to kind of break the ice for each of my presentations. My fun fact for you all, that my Twitter handle actually extends into my real life, and everyone at HubSpot and all of my friends actually call me RepCore. Kind of blows my mind. My mother hates it. She doesn't understand why her lovely daughter is called this strange word. But I've always wanted to be a one-name celebrity like Madonna or Beyonce, and today I even have the Madonna mic going on, so I figure I'm well on my way, so I'll take it. So hope to get to connect with you there. I've had the opportunity to be with HubSpot for almost 8 years now, very proud of that. Today, we're at about 1,300 employees. Very, very exciting. When I joined a little under 8 years ago, we were a starting group of 50. So when I talk about growth, it's in light of the experience we've had ourselves, which is really what leads to my excitement about inbound. I'll be able to share the strategies that we've tackled, that we've used in order to see our growth, and really share that with you. So why are we all here? Why are we taking the time to sit at these tables, get our laptops out, take some notes? And most likely it's because we're all looking for ideas on how we can improve our own marketing, become better marketers, and ultimately help grow our businesses. And I believe that growth starts with marketing. Marketing is at the front line of growth. And if you're not thinking about it that way today, you really should. Because if you think about what growth is and what marketing needs to do to achieve that, it's going to start with us. And we should be really proud of that responsibility. So if I define growth in this case, I'm going to call it overachieving on revenue targets. Growth in terms of revenue. Revenue is really at the core of that growth. And what do you need to get there? Let's work backwards. Well, first, your sales team really needs to do exceptionally well, whether it be hit 100% of their targets or exceed that. Well, what does sales need to do in order to do that well? Well, they need to follow up with their leads. And how can marketing support with that? Well, we can give them collateral, we can give them competitive data, we can give them content, we can give them context about their leads. But even before that, we need to give them leads to follow up with. We need to find the people who are naturally interested in our products and services so they can have those really valuable conversations. And in order for us to drive leads, we obviously need to drive awareness for our companies through traffic, through new people discovering our website. And those first three pieces are really owned by marketing, which is exceptional. That's great. So one of the things I really like to think about is when we're thinking about new opportunities to learn and new ways to grow, growth is not by chance. Growth is a function of sales and marketing working together, and marketing really reaching to find the best possible ideas to help them grow their business, the best possible marketing for you. So hopefully, that gives a little inspiration. You can be really proud of what you're doing for your organizations, but this is when I share some bad news. And what I'd like to share is the obstacle that's in front of all of us from doing this really well. And that's the fact that marketing, as we've known it for 10 plus 20 years, has completely changed. And at the core of this change is the fact that marketing has a bit of a lovability problem. And what I mean by that is marketing as a whole doesn't have as positive a perception as it used to. Kind of scary. I don't know about you, but I love my profession, and I really want to be seen in a positive light. So we wanted to dig in. We wanted to really understand this, make sure we were seeing what we thought we were seeing, so we did a study. And what we wanted to understand are the top trusted professions in the US. And so we did a study, and we said, do you trust this profession or not? And as you probably guessed, toward the very top of the list were very, very important service-focused professions like firefighters and teachers and doctors and nurses. But what was really, really sad is at the very bottom of the list were salespeople and marketers. Yikes. I don't know about you, but when I go to my Thanksgiving family conversation, I want people to be like, yeah, you're a marketer. I don't want marketers to be the new lawyer jokes. We need to be careful. So why has this happened? Why are we not seen as the positive way that we really should? What have we done to earn this perception? How did we do this? And I think this requires us to be a little true, do some introspective reflecting, and basically acknowledge that we're not always using our superpowers for good. I don't know if you can think about some of the things that you did. I don't think we're always using our superpowers for good. So what do I mean by that? How could that be? Well, think about some of the tools that many marketers might use, the ones that might not be seen as very positive. And imagine telling your mother at that Thanksgiving Day dinner. So what if you said hypothetically, hey mom, yesterday I bought 10,000 emails and I sent them all a message. And your mom would be like, what? Who are these people? Do they know you? Why are you trying to sell them something if they don't even know who you are? Did they want to hear from you? Did that annoy them? They probably get so much email as it is. Why are you just adding to it? That doesn't seem like a very nice thing to do. Go to your room. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true. That isn't a very positive thing to do. And you can imagine if we're doing things like this and a few others that are extremely interruptive and not helpful, that's how we build this somewhat negative perception of ourselves. So we need to get out of it. What this has done is trained society to ignore marketing. And you can think of yourself as a consumer right now. Don't think of yourself as a marketer. Think of yourself as a consumer and see if some of this resonates with you. So take TV ads, a tried and true strategy forever. 95% of people are actually completely ignoring TV ads. And I'd go so far to say the other 5% aren't actually watching the ad, it just happens to be on while they're getting a snack, right? Same goes with email. So take that example of that email send with the 10,000 bot email addresses. If a far majority of them are unsubscribing, you're basically making it so they're shutting the door on you before you can even have a potential business conversation. You can never communicate with that person via email again, right? Really, really dangerous and might have a negative long-term effect. Same with direct mail and is also with cold calls. Over 66% are actually on the do not call list. So these are people that are so scarred from calls that they've actually chosen to never be called ever, ever again. So what has this done? What has this shift done? It's basically put the buyer in control. That means the buyer is in 100% control of whether our marketing is successful or not. We are not in control. And they control what they read, what they look at, what they click, what they open. So we need to just let it go and acknowledge that. This is the new way the world works. And we need to play this game. And we need to make sure we're doing that. So we need to know that no one wakes up, to Brian's very point, no one wakes up and says, I want to see an ad today. Wouldn't that be great? I hope it's a good one. Maybe the Super Bowl. That may be the one exception. But we still wake up and say, what ads should we create today? What should we do? So we need to change this. And we need to think about not only making marketing that people like, enjoy, value, but making marketing that people love. Imagine that. Imagine someone getting an email from you or seeing something on your website and then sharing it with a dozen people. Imagine them saying, this has made my day. I am so thankful I have come across this. I'm going to go tell someone else about this. Imagine coming to a point where people have such a wonderful experience interacting with your marketing. And that's the new goal that we need to really, really achieve. The good news is this is where I believe the inbound philosophy comes into play. Inbound is marketers' reaction to this shift in the marketing landscape. And it's about adopting an inbound philosophy, and I mean that in the true meaning of the word, that we need to use in order to improve our marketing. And it starts with comparing it to what we've used traditionally. So I think the best way to describe what something is to describe what it isn't. So if you take traditional marketing, the whole basis of it is successful if it can interrupt you at the perfect time. I think of the people on the streets that are trying to get you to donate and they have that clipboard. Maybe if you can't walk by, you just might fill out their clipboard. It's terrible. It's really focused on calling you. It's focused on emailing you. And it's extremely seller-centric. The entire motive of that marketing is, can I get you to do, read, think what I want that benefits me? it benefits the seller. Inbound completely turns that around. It's all about creating marketing that benefits the potential customer. It's all about providing value to them and thus attracting them. What are we attracted to? Things that value us, or excuse me, things that we value. We're attracted to things that help us, that really, really do good for us. So that's what we need to think about, and that's through content, tools, freemium paths, etc. The good news is people are using, quite obviously, online tools to search for products and services and things that they need and things that they want. What we just need to make sure we do is create content that's helpful and human that serves that need. So when someone does need something, they do have a need, we can give value to them, we can support them. That's what we need. There's another value of inbound marketing I really, really like that often gets overlooked. And so I want to pause and talk about this as well. So I want you to think in your minds if you believe you rent or own your marketing. You can kind of make a parallel with real estate. So for example, what would rented marketing look like? Let's say if you are entirely having your marketing programs be based on paid advertising, things of that variety, do you still get value from your marketing after you stop paying? If not, you probably have a rented marketing strategy. Now, there's a time and a place for paid ads, absolutely. There's a great inbound way to use them. I believe that 100%. But if that is your sole strategy, it's not going to pay off after the point you stop exerting effort or stop paying those bills. Inbound, I see as an equity-building owned strategy. So for example, at HubSpot, we love content, we love blogging. I love to contribute blog posts when I can. A couple of weeks ago, one of the posts I wrote was all about how to manage a successful marketing team and tips that went into that. So I spent some significant time writing it. I wanted it to be really, really strong, really great content. I gave it to our blogging team. They posted it a couple of weeks ago. Yesterday, now weeks later, I'm still getting retweets and posts and people sharing that content. Am I exerting any effort in regards to that post anymore? Not at all. But it's still paying off for HubSpot and still driving value, which is great. So to really, really, really hit this point home, a fact about HubSpot I'd love to share is actually that 56% of our leads that we generate every month come from marketing campaigns executed in prior months. Think about that. So in other words, if I said, hey, marketing team, let's all take the month of June off, which would be awesome, we could still generate leads and support our sales team. We would still be driving value for our company. We'd still be helping growth. And so now when you think of really ambitious growth goals, if you can guarantee some level of leads month over month, no matter what, everything on top will be gravy, and you'll see this compound effect. And we've really relied on that at HubSpot through our years to grow. So that's where it comes really great. We wanted to make sure this wasn't just us, and this was something that other companies might experience as well. So we went through our data and did research to see what other companies were seeing. We saw at approximately the 51 to 100 posts posted on a blog, people started to see an exponential increase in the amount of leads they were getting. So that's really interesting. So the more content that's out there that is supporting their potential users, the more opportunities to generate leads for you. That's that asset that you're building. So how do we start? I want to start getting tactical, and I want to start talking about how this works and how you can bring it into fruition in your company if you're not already. And the first step is to create your inbound toolkit, which is going to be content. Content is a huge theme of this day, and it very well should be. And so your inbound content arsenal could be blog content. We love blog content. It could be interactive tools. It could be infographics and images and video, 360 video. It could be presentations and ebooks. I want to pause on one that I think is really interesting, interactive tools. So that one is the one that most often gets overlooked. And I'm going to explain it by telling a story. So once upon a time, in a faraway land, no, I'm just kidding, just in Boston, Massachusetts, we at HubSpot were only about a year and a half old, and no one knew who we were. Of course not. Why would anyone know who we were? And so we wanted to create an interactive tool that would live online and would serve a really strong need of our potential customers at that time that people would discover and use as a pathway to eventually discover HubSpot. That was our goal. And at the time, one of the huge needs were creating websites that could be SEO optimized. That was the hot, hot, hot topic at the time. And so we thought, well, what if we create a tool that served as a grader? What people could do is go online, put in their website address, and it would spit out a report that gave a bunch of tips on how they could improve their website. That seems pretty valuable. I see someone wanting to share that. That could be interesting. So we created it. It's called Website Grader, still exists today. And it was one of the most successful campaigns we ran that continues to drive value even today, which is wild. And so thinking about that and thinking about something that lives and continues to give and give and give, that's something that can really support your growth. So that's an example of an interactive tool and something that we're really thankful to have had. But the key thing here is it needs to be content that your users value. That's what defines success for what content is good. So a lot of this isn't new. The idea of online content is not new. We found that 91% of marketers are already using content. Who's using content as part of their marketing strategy today? Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's 91%. And what was really interesting is while we're investing in it and we're learning about it, only 42% felt they were successful so far. And by successful, I mean effective at it. And by effective at it, I mean driving results and actual revenue. So now that we've talked about the value of content, I want to talk a little bit about how to drive that revenue. The first piece is to realize that your audience defines what high quality is. So remember that. If you have a team that says, this is good, this is bad, I would scrap that and say, hey, group of potential customers, what's good and what's bad? Make sure you're using their idea. And when you're thinking of what you want to write about, what is actually value, I would start with your customers' questions. I think this is the easiest way to get that started. You most likely have some team that talks with your customers or clients on a regular basis, most likely. And what you could do is ask those people, what are the questions that you receive about your product and services? It could be about your industry. It could be about how to do their job successfully overall, regardless of your product and service. So for example, I wrote a post that a couple weeks ago that I mentioned to you about managing a marketing team. HubSpot does not help you manage a marketing team. Nope. But that's a really important topic that our audience, marketers obviously, really cares about. So we wanted to answer that question because it's a question that they have. So that's your first start. So I want to show why it's important to start with questions and give a bit of that to light. And I think why it's so important to start with questions is because it reflects how people use search engines. What most often do we put into search engines? We put in questions or phrases that fit an overall question. So for example, if Mary is trying to improve her marketing, which is great, what do you think she's going to search for online? She's going to search for HubSpot? Well, if that happened, it would make my day, I'm not going to lie. But I would say it's pretty unlikely. What she might search instead is what is blogging. That makes a lot of sense. That would be investing in a topic that would help her do her marketing better. And so when I'm thinking about my strategy, what I need to do is create as much content as possible that answers the questions that Mary is wondering about, and then guide her back to our website. So maybe, just maybe, she will then investigate our company and maybe investigate our products. So there's a few more pieces to this puzzle. I talked to you about how we can get Mary to understand what HubSpot is, maybe, but I have not described how you can get Mary to become a customer. And that's really when it makes a big impact. That's really when you're driving revenue and driving growth. So what we need to do, the turning point in this, is we need to make it so Mary is not an anonymous visitor to our website, but a human with a name, maybe an email, maybe a phone number, whatever it might be. We need to give Mary an excuse to unveil herself so we know who she is and she can potentially do business with us. So how do you do that? How do you encourage Mary to take that action? And the first step of this is a concept of an offer. Maybe you've heard of this, maybe you've not, but it's a magical, magical thing. And what it is, on the same theme of content, is something of extreme value. I mean, even more valuable than your blog. Maybe it's a really in-depth ebook. Maybe it's a long report. Maybe it's a guide of some variety that helps people step-by-step do a certain thing. Maybe it's some sort of evaluation. But it's something of extreme value that someone might want to receive for the price of contact info. And what you do is then you offer these offers on landing pages. You've probably seen these before. And what's really, really great about this is this explains the value of it, explains what it might do in terms of being beneficial for the person, and then someone can choose to get it or not via this form. Great. The reason why we want this is if Mary does make this choice, she is now a lead for HubSpot. She has given us permission to follow up with her. We obviously need to be very careful with how we follow up with her and make sure we're still maintaining that trust, but we now can. And that is when it becomes a new sales conversation. So in order to then get her there is we need to think about what content that we exist that answers those questions can bring pathways to those landing pages. So we're creating conversion paths, as we like to say it. So what I want to do now is go through and show a full conversion path that might happen with Mary, specifically in regards to a need she might have, which is to mobile optimize her website. So what do you think Mary does first when she's trying to learn about mobile optimizing her website? Come on, you guys know. Google, absolutely. So she goes to Google and she does a search. She puts in the terms that she thinks make sense and will help her get the results and answer the question that she has. Luckily enough, HubSpot anticipated this as a question that Mary might have, and we wrote a post that answered that very question, provided value for her so she could learn what she needed to learn. Great. So she sees that, says, good, looks like it'll answer my question. I click it, and then she goes through and starts reading the content. It's really meaty. It tries to be actionable. It's really focused on helping her get what she's looking for, get what she needs, and really drive as much value for Mary as possible. So she reads the post, and then at the bottom is something called a call to action. And what this call to action says is if you want to keep going, if you still want to learn even more, maybe get something actionable to help you implement this on your website, we have a guide that you can download to keep going. And Mary says, yeah, this is a huge priority for this quarter. I really need to make this happen. I'm going to click this. I'm going to go forward. So she clicks it, and she's brought to this landing page. Look familiar? She goes through, she reads about this guide, and then she says, yes, I need this guide, and she fills out this form. Awesome. Mary's gone through the full path to now become a contact that we can do business with. Now, hold up. Just because there is a form on a page doesn't mean someone's going to fill it out, right? Just because someone on the street hands me a clipboard and asks for my email address doesn't mean I'm going to do that, right? What is needed? What's needed is trust. What's needed is trust that we're going to take care of her contact information, that we're not going to abuse it, that we're not going to use our superpowers for evil. So what's really great is for this to work, if we were really, really dedicated to driving value for Mary the entire step of the way, at every single point, every action was in service to her, there is a higher likelihood that she will trust us and will say, yeah, these HubSpot guys, they seem okay. I'm going to fill out this form. I know I'm giving them permission to follow up, but I'm comfortable with that. We actually see an extremely high conversion rate on our landing pages for this very point, above the 50% most often. And we're really, really thankful for that. And I think it's due to the hard work of trying to be in service as best as we can. That's great. And now these are leads we could give to sales and drive our revenue. So the story doesn't stop there. Next, with every good marketing story, is a focus on measurement. We don't do anything without measuring its impact somehow. Huge, huge, huge priority for us. And so when we're measuring our success of inbound marketing, or our lack of success, it does happen. Failures are great. They help you learn. What we do is we look at our reports to understand where is our traffic coming from, what channels. Is it search? Is it social? If it's social, is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? How is our emails doing? How is all of this coming together? Do we see a boost here? Do we see a decrease there? Is there a particular piece of content that's performing well on a specific channel? We really, really dig in to understand that as best as we can. And then what we like to do is measure on each stage of the funnel. We love marketing funnels. It's a great little machine that shows how people go step by step. And we see how it's impacted traffic, how it impacts leads. Do we see an increase in leads from a specific channel like search or whatever? And then how does it impact revenue? Can we actually track revenue back to a particular campaign that we've done? How can we see that? And when we talk to folks who are adopting an inbound strategy or move to it, they're seeing great results in every stage of the funnel. So that's why we call it an inbound philosophy. It's a strategy, but it's also a way of thinking, if you think about it. It's a dedication to driving value to your user at every stage of the marketing process, whatever that might be, in order to generate that trust. And when we wanted to understand, well, how is this having an impact on the bank? On average, people saved about 20 grand a year in their marketing budget from moving to this strategy. Probably a testament to that focus on building an asset, owning your marketing versus inventing. Very, very cool. So, if there's any thought, any takeaway that I want you to walk away with, it's this. It's the golden rule. Please market to others as you would like to be marketed to. And it's great. What that's going to do is people are going to trust you. People will enjoy your marketing. Imagine that. That's going to feel real good. Someone enjoyed my marketing. I made someone's day by marketing to them. How cool is that? And what ultimately this is going to do, it's going to restore faith to our amazing profession, because we all know it's something to really be proud of. Thank you.